You yawning in the mic?
I'm yawning in the mic, man. It's late. It's an after dark episode.
Well, I had to work out. I had to.
And make a shake and drink the shake and get a shower. No shower.
I haven't showered yet.
Not showered. Look at you.
Look at me cutting corners for you and your bachelor watching.
Oh, whatever.
Just so you could watch hunky men.
They're not hunky.
And
most of them are asshats.
And questionable women. Questionable women. Hey, 2 in a row. Here we are.
Yay!
I am Jeremy.
I'm Krista.
We are parentally unprepared.
Yet again.
Ever unprepared. How you doing?
I'm good now that the house has cooled down.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Lots happened in a week. So much has happened in a week.
I don't even know what we talked about last time.
Doesn't matter. Because we got plenty to talk about that hasn't happened. This happened
I'm
since
just
last
like,
time.
I'm wondering where we even start.
Well,
but this is all we do is we recap things. That's it. It's a time capsule.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a time capsule. We can talk about what's going through our minds. We could talk about anything we want. Just not politics.
No.
That's a different show. I don't mind, but it has no place here.
I mean, it has
I have the rule.
a tiny place in the time capsule, but like it definitely should never be the focus.
Yeah.
Because just who has time for that shit?
No one. No one has time for that shit. Okay, so we'll start here. I guess this was already in progress when we recorded last week, because I think we recorded on like a Tuesday. I think we recorded early in the week. A week off school, week off work. Sorry.
For you.
For me.
Yeah.
Which isn't really a week off. Like it was, I was talking to, I got back. So today's Tuesday when we're recording. I got back to work yesterday, and they're like, "How was your time off?" I was like, "It wasn't relaxing." Like it wasn't. I was actually more tired at the end of the day than I am when I come to work.
Yeah.
And if they're, what I thought about that is one of the more true scenarios or situations in the office is when Jim takes time off work. Say he has jury duty. Mm-hmm. He's really just helping out at home. Mm-hmm. And then they bring the kids in and everybody's like, "Oh God.
Go back home."
Yeah, go back home. What did Daryl say? He's like, he didn't have any days off. Those were not relaxing.
That was not a vacation, man.
That was no vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good week. I liked getting a chance to spend it with my son. Our daughter had 2 days off at the end of the week because daycare was closed to change over to the new school year.
Describe what you did there.
There may have been emotion with my hands.
I was like, this is not a visual medium.
Yeah,
apparently.
I know. Well, I also don't want to really describe it, but I could see a day. Maybe you need a day to switch over, clean up the place, right?
Well,
but they
just take so many other days. I could see 2 days if they didn't take so many other days all the time.
Take a lot of days.
Yeah.
But so she got to be home for that. But so the days that it was before she was off, it was, we were on the schedule. Get him there for a nap, get him up for his bottle, play with him, get him tired, work on his range of motion, do all that stuff. It was great. I mean, it was good spending time with him, but by the end of the day, I was like,
My mom, when she sat with him, she was like, it's constant. Like, it's just never ending. She's like, the schedule, just like you're always feeding, you're always like doing something with him. And she was like, and his naps, like you think he has so many and for so long, and then but it's just automatically you're right back there doing the next thing next. Yeah, like I was like, yeah, that's exactly it. by the time you get him laid down and then you go to do something, like usually like by at least the first time you take him back, it's like I might as well get lunch now. Make lunch now because I'm going to be busy when he gets back up. So you eat up 30, 45 minutes there. Then it's like, oh man, there's only 30 more minutes left. Like in the whole day.
And like, you're like, I can get a few things done while he's laying down. It's like, 90 minutes isn't that much to get that done. Like, it isn't as much as you think it is.
No.
You can probably get like a couple small tasks done. But anyway, so by the end of the day, like, I'm just like, ugh, zombie. My eyes are burning just because I've been up, right? Well, we get to Wednesday. We get to Wednesday, and it's a long weekend for the girl. And we're like, great. We're excited. We have dinner. We hang out. I think we watch a movie.
Oh, God. It has been a while since we recorded. I just realized what you're about to tell everybody.
Okay. We recorded Tuesday, and it all happened Wednesday.
Oh, gosh.
I think we watched a movie.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. Maybe? I don't know.
Either way. So we do pretty much our normal routine. We may have done like a little bit of watching of something, maybe Sesame Street or something. Anyway, so she goes to bed. I decide to go do a stream. You decide to watch TV or do something around the house.
Yeah, just relax for a minute.
Just relax.
Jesus. Just take a moment.
I'm probably somewhere between 2 and 3 hours into my thing. I think that your feet kicked up, relaxing, and my phone starts ringing, and I was like, oh, and I didn't know where I put, like, my phone was sitting behind me on the table, but my watch was going off, and I was like, oh, I was like, well, when I come to a point, I'll stop and I'll go check, and then like your text came through on my. You used to get a small preview on these little watches. Like, I don't have like a smart watch. I just have like a Fitbit that gives you like a little preview, and it says, come up here now.
That's all I sent.
Yep. And I was like, oh, well, let's go check. Let's pause what I'm doing. I go up there, and it looks like a crime scene has happened in our daughter's room. Like, it's just red throw up everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Red throw up.
And purple.
Red and
just
purple.
Vomit everywhere.
And I was like, what is going on? And then it took me a second to process.
It took me a second. Like, when I turned the light on, I was like, what is happening? Oh, because she was like, at first when I got in there, she was just like, ew, like just icked out by it.
Yeah.
And she was just like, just get me out of these clothes. Like, you could just tell she was just like over it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what happened, babe? And she's like, I don't want to tell you. Like, and I was just like, this is vomit, right?
She was very nonchalant about the whole thing. So
I think
essentially,
she was still half asleep and just feeling terrible, honestly.
Yeah. And so she had a lot of, like, with dinner, she had a lot of blueberries and raspberries. Strawberries. And, you know, so basically the dye, like the natural dyes in blueberry just had turned everything red.
Oh, God, it was terrible.
It turned everything red in her stomach. So when it all came out, it was all just red on the bed, different parts of the bed, a few places on her carpet.
Our carpet's thankfully purple and pink and orange. She had camouflaged it really well.
That's what I told you. I was like, by the way, this is a great pick for a color for this situation. It's like a casino carpet.
It is like a casino carpet. It's wonderful. We'll keep like that in mind with casino. The next one. We'll get him a woodland casino carpet print.
So she ended up having a stomach bug, and I was amazed the whole time at just how calm she was. Because when I was that age, when I was a kid, I was not, like, I'm sure no one's a fan of throwing up, but I was like very upset when I threw up.
She was so upset about it, but like not in a hysterical way. She was just like, this effing sucks. Like, you could just see it in her face.
Yeah. She looked so much more annoyed and inconvenienced.
Like, just terribly inconvenienced. Just like, can you please just make this over? Like, I did my time, damn it. Like, aren't we done with this shit yet? And you could just see, she kept heaving. Like, after a while, she went and was like, I just want to sleep on the couch. And I was like, you can't sleep on my leather couch. It's vomiting like this. I was like, I'm sorry, I can clean the floor, I can't clean that couch. And I'm like, this seems like a terribly vain, vapid thing.
Smart. I wouldn't want her to lay on anything else, you know.
I know, but I was just like, in my mom head, I'm like, I should be worried about my kid, not my couch right now. But I was like, is there a way to do both?
Yes, there is.
But she wanted to sleep on the couch for a little while, so we like laid her in there, and she'd thrown up a bunch more, like few more times. Just walking throw up for a while, like, and you were like, let's get her to bed, and I was like looking at her, and I was like, she's not done. Like, she's not done. I'm sorry. You got to leave her.
We put down a little pallet on the couch, so she got to lay on the couch, but just, she was
up to like 1.
We brought out the crackers. We brought out,
and she didn't want anything, obviously, but
she didn't. I went to the gas station and picked up Gatorade, and
you picked up the wrong kind of Gatorade. We found out because she doesn't like white Gatorade, because you were trying to get something without dye in it. And because that would have been smart. But she doesn't like the white Gatorade because she's 3 years old. She also doesn't like ginger ale and Sprite. She was iffy about it for a minute there.
I think her stomach was just bugging her, and she just didn't want to put anything in it. And I don't blame her.
And she was throwing up water too, and it was just like,
keep water down.
Yeah, we thought she had food poisoning. Like, so we had just gotten those berries from the store, and we hadn't eaten any of those.
Big Costco thing of them too.
Yeah, huge Costco thing of blueberries. And I had just washed all of them in like a vinegar rinse. So I'm like, how are these making her sick? And so I threw them all away. But it turns out, an hour after I threw them away, we got word from the parent chat at daycare that a bug was going around, and a couple other kids had it. At varying times, mind you, so that would have been nice to know. But yeah, so she went the next day and was just like, food bad, I don't need food to live. And then the next day
don't jump too far ahead. Because we basically let her lay on the couch for a while, because this happened. She goes to bed around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
This all happened around 10:30, 11 maybe.
10:30 is when she started.
And then you were like,
I just saw her on the monitor, just get out of bed and start wandering the room frantically. And I was just like, what is she doing? Did she pee? Did she have an accident? She
wasn't crying out.
She wasn't crying out or anything. She's just frantically pacing alongside her bed. And you could just kind of see, even with night vision on, she her face just looked a little
bewildered, perplexed,
troubled. Yeah. So I finally went in there, and it was not what I expected.
Yeah. But she stayed on the couch for a little while. You looked at me, you're like, we're not going to bed till at least 1. I was like, all right, that's fine. So I went and got that stuff. She didn't like the Gatorade. She drank some of the Sprite. She dry heaved some more. She got to the bile point where it was just her stomach.
That was scary, man. I did not realize how bright yellow bile is when you got nothing on your stomach.
And
I was looking it up. I'm like, is this color okay? Turns out it is, if anybody's wondering.
So she laid out there. She actually fell asleep for a little while we were sitting there, and then we got her back to bed. Got all the sheets off, color treated everything, put it in the wash. And we got her a makeshift.
She has a white comforter and white sheets, mind you.
Yeah, smart move on our part.
I mean, she picked them out. She wanted them. We got her what she wanted.
Hey, man, whatever whatever those liners are that are under those sheets are worth their weight in gold, because the set under those sheets. Because if you're a smart parent, not saying you're not smart, folks,
but this is a good pro tip.
A smart thing to do is to put 2 or 3. When it's a bigger bed, it needs to be 2 because it gets too tight. But 2 or 3 sets of sheets on. So if they have an accident like this, you just rip them off. So you do one of the waterproof sheets, a regular sheet, waterproof sheet, regular sheet. Mm-hmm. You can just rip off whatever one is soiled, and the other one's usually good to go. And this was perfect. I was expecting a little bit to have gotten through because there was so much.
Yeah, we've done this since she was a baby. We do it now with the new little one, and it has come in handy so many times.
We got her back in bed.
Up, pee-pee, poop, vomit, all of it now.
Yeah. And she was funny though, because I was talking to her. I was because we had plans to go meet my folks who were going out of town for the weekend for breakfast at one of her favorite places. Mm-hmm. They do chocolate chip pancakes there, and she's crazy about it. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to her. We were getting her back in bed, and she was like, "Are we still going to breakfast tomorrow?" And I was like, "How do you feel?" She goes, "I feel bad." I was like, "Well, you know what? We can go when they get back. We don't have to go tomorrow." She goes, "Well, I think I'm going to feel okay in the morning. I was like, of course you think you are. And she finally goes to sleep. We finally go to sleep. And it is about 1 o'clock. And the next morning we get up and she's acting fairly normal.
Yeah, she's
still feeling bad. You can tell. You can see it in her face. She's still feeling bad. She did not dry heave like the next morning. She did dry heave later in the day. But didn't she dry?
Not until the next day.
Oh, till the next day. Okay. So anyway, and so we go ahead and I was like, you still want to try to go to, because we were still at this point. Did you find out it was a bug that night? Or did you find out the next morning? Because we were still thinking it was food poisoning.
I mean, it was the next day. Yeah. So she got sick on Wednesday night, and then I found out like late Thursday.
Yeah. So we were still thinking, I was like, well, she threw up everything, so maybe she's feeling fine.
We were still keeping her like away from the baby.
Yeah, kept her away from the baby.
Just in case, because good gosh.
But she was bent on going to breakfast, and I was like, okay, let's go. It's middle of the week. It's not very crowded, whatever. We sit down. She gets her normal kid size chocolate chip pancake, and she usually devours this thing. And like, she had me cut it up. I cut up about half of it, and she took a bite. And she was like, I don't want it. I was like, are you kidding? I was like, what do you want? Do you want anything? I'll go over there and get you something. She goes, I don't think I want anything. I was like, you're still feeling like poop. Mm-hmm. So that went on for the rest of the day. As we were trying to get her to eat something, we got her, she was like, I was like, do you want me to make a pizza? We got frozen pizza. She goes, yeah, I want a pizza. Made the pizza.
We made everything in the house.
And me and you ended up eating most of the pizza while she just picked at it.
Long story short, man, she wanted everything, she thought, and she ate nothing. Like everything we put in front of her, just like you could tell it turned her stomach.
Her brain was hungry and her stomach was like, no thank you. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here.
So we got her to sleep that night, and then the next morning she woke up and she was like acting really like herself. Mm-hmm. Just bouncing off the wall, super happy, like fine. And she wanted a Pop-Tart and something else weird. I can't remember.
Not a strudel, but I don't know.
No, something else. But
she goes through so many things.
Yeah.
Yogurt,
maybe. I don't know. But basically, she threw up right after that, and it was all brown and white. Because that's not the stuff you're supposed to put on a sour stomach. We were just like, well, it's been 2 days. Like, she could probably eat it, but apparently not. And then we fed her saltines for the rest of the day. And then she pulled 2 more days of not wanting to eat anything.
Yeah.
Man, 3-year-olds are crazy.
It's rough. But I mean, so that kind of capped out that week. I ended up, we had orientation for our new classes. Mm-hmm. And I ended up just going by myself because I was like, well, we don't know. Obviously, at that point, we hadn't known it was a bug.
Mind you, I still have to work through all of this. Like,
yeah.
He's home with both the kids by himself. One's throwing her guts up and doesn't want to eat anything and feels miserable. And I am supposed to carry on. Like, everything's okay.
I had planned to do you only have a little bit of time in between naps, but to do like small trips to close by places. Like we can go to the library, we can go to the park, make it back for a nap, all that stuff. And we just ended up like, it was one of those situations where you're like, that's what the TV's for.
Yep. So I just
we watched some movies. I tried to interlace it with some learning stuff, Sesame Street, Miss Rachel, stuff like that. Because it kept her busy while I was dealing with all the stuff I had to deal with the boy.
Yeah.
So I end up going to, we keep both kids home, and I go to orientation, meet the new teachers, have had great feelings about it, right?
Yeah. Better than last year.
Much better than last year. It seems like there's some structure, there's some order, there's an actual schedule of things to do, and it's not just, all right, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, no.
So felt a lot less like that. I mean, even in orientation, usually, at least in the first 3 years that we've been, usually the kids come in and they get used to their room. Like they start checking out what kind of toys are in here, what kind of things are there to do. And one of the kids who we've known, because she was in the class last year, had some stuff out, was playing while the dad was talking to the teachers. And when it was time for them to go, he was like, all right, let's get out of here. And she was like, okay. And she stood up and went to leave and just left what she was playing with on the floor. And the teacher's like, no, ma'am, you need to come over here and help us clean up. And I was like, yes.
Well, and the first thing I asked you when you got home, I was like, was there a bunch of goofy shit on the walls? Like, because in the last class, like, you walked in and it was like a Lisa Frank chaos donut fever dream. It was terrible. And I like Lisa Frank and I love donuts, but it was like the most disorganized, like just chaos hoarder bullshit.
Yeah.
All going on. And I was just like, how is a kid not supposed to be overwhelmed by this? Like,
it didn't come off as a place of learning.
No, absolutely.
It looked like someone decorating their room and they're a teenager.
Exactly. It looked like when you are 15 and you have a 20-foot long collage wall.
Yeah.
Like,
you're cutting pictures out of magazines and sticking them on the wall. Yeah.
It was, I mean, like, think Charlie Day in front of a board drawing like red string lines to all the killers that he suspects. Like,
trying to figure out his theories.
Yeah.
Very.
And
so you asked me about that. Yeah. I do remember looking around and it looked like what it reminded me of is
a classroom.
A classroom. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, look, they've got a bulletin board over here that looks nice, but it looks like there's a purpose for it. There are shapes on there, the days of the week, the months of the year.
Yeah.
They're all on little Velcro things, so they can take them down and move them around.
Interactive, almost.
Interactive. There's everything's in order. The room is in order.
Let me tell you something too. I went to pick her up today, and so the kids all take sheets and blankets for nap time. Everyone's was folded and placed back in their cubby, which our daughter completely disrupted and tried to almost have a meltdown about taking home her blanket and sheet today. And I couldn't see a reason why she couldn't. So I allowed it and was like, you have to carry it and you have to be responsible for it. And you have to remember to grab it in the morning. And before we even left the daycare, she went and put it back. Because I was like, I have to carry your brother and his things. Like, you have to carry what you want to take with you now. Like,
she's getting to that age where we can be like, you want to take it, you carry it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's cut down on so much stuff coming with us.
And she has a backpack. She is absolutely allowed to take that with her as I have a purse. I get it. But no, if she wants to bring it, she has to carry it.
Well, the other thing I like too is...
But she definitely shoved that stuff back into the cubby. And I was like, oops, sorry guys. I'm carrying a stroller or a car seat and all this stuff.
Yeah. That makes me think of one of the things that the teacher said when I was at orientation. She was talking to one of the other dads and they're like, oh no, they're going to learn how to fold their blankets. They're going to learn how to make a bed. They're going to learn this stuff too.
I remember them saying that. Yeah. And that's wonderful. Like, so
it's a cool place to be.
I'm so much more excited. So we've got, and our son started as well in the baby class, and his lead teacher, her son is in the class with our daughter, and he's really sweet. Like, he used to play with her on the playground last year because their two classes had their like playtime at about the same time. And so I've been going in to give her son a bottle in the middle of the day, and me and her have been chatting, and me and her have been like chatting in passing a little bit before then. And I really like her because she gave me the skinny and she was like, I don't like that. I didn't like that class your kid was in last year. I pulled my son from that class, and I'm like, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
And we hashed about all the things.
Many things, yeah.
I think we've talked about on this podcast for the most part, so I won't revisit, but like, I was like, kindred spirit is watching my kid. She finds all this stuff unacceptable too, thank God.
Yeah, like, I was thinking about that today too, because like, as much as I want to like, I mean, we've beat it to death on our side, but you also don't want to blow people's spots up, so it's like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the baby teacher has me really excited. You know, it was cool to go in there, and I mean, obviously I'd seen her before because, you know, the classes mixed last year sometimes.
Yeah.
And she was already asking about, you know, she knew that you were pregnant, you know, she knew that we had a kid, and she's like, is he going to be I want him to be in my room.
Yep.
And I was like, all right.
I wasn't even going to hope for it because we knew, I'm being straightforward, we know the administration is really annoyed with all our bitching. So I was just like, I'm not even going to hope for it because if I want that room, they're certainly not going to give it to us.
Well, yeah.
And we got it.
Yeah.
So it made me happy.
We got that one. I'm glad. I mean, I'm happy with the other class we got, but there was, one of her former teachers is now teaching at the higher, in the older kid class, and we were like, man, that'd be great to get her again because we know she's really good too.
Yeah.
And we made the mistake of asking, and I think they were like, oh, they want that. We're going to give them a different.
That's
classroom.
my point. Yeah, it's like we did that, and I knew they weren't going to give it to me basically by the response I got when I asked. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to screw up little man's spot either. But
yeah, so I popped into an orientation.
I like the teachers we ended up getting though. I think it might have been a good call, because we know how the other teacher functions with 2-year-olds. And I know she's a great teacher, but I like the other things they're teaching in this classroom too, and I don't know that they do that in the other classroom. I'm not saying they don't. I just don't know that they do.
Yeah, it seems like a nice blend of
and these
of habits and learning. Good habits and learning.
Well, and these 2 teachers that she has in this class have been teaching apparently together for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I think that's really cool. Well, they work well together.
And you talk to certain teachers and you're like, oh, they've seen it's like that. I've seen it all kind of talk.
One of her teachers, she's been teaching for 20 years, but she's also got 11 grandkids.
Yeah. So I pop into the baby room, talk to them for a minute, find out that the ratio in there is kid to teacher is super low.
Yeah.
Because half the class isn't even born yet.
Yeah, our son's one of 4 babies now. With 2 teachers and an extra.
One of 4 babies, and some of those babies are only there a couple times a week.
Yeah.
So it's at any given moment, there's only 2 kids in that classroom.
One of the teachers is we've decided your son's our favorite, and we argue over him. I'm like, there's only 2 of them. Argue over both of them. The other one's real sweet too. They're 3 months old.
Flip
it's
a
fine,
coin, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm like, I bet if you hold him, he'll love you too.
Yeah, they're small enough you can hold them both.
It was So everybody loves our son because he is the sweetest, most cuddly, most low maintenance baby that's ever lived. Apparently, I've just gone in there to try to spend some extra time with him, and I keep the first day I went in. It's only been 2 days. The first day I went in, I kind of wanted to get to know the teacher, so I just sat in the room and fed him. With our daughter, I took her over to the nursing room. Well, I'm done nursing, so I just grabbed the bottle and fed him there. And today I wasn't late, but he needed a bottle early because he was apparently a little fussy. So they had already fed him when I got there, so I just got there and held him. And so I've been talking with the teachers a lot, but I want to take that time to get that one-on-one time I had with our daughter, with him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get there a little bit earlier just in case he needs an early feeding, and just try to spend an hour with him every day without, interruption from our eldest, who is, she's at a stage where she needs lots of reassurance and lots of attention, and I understand, and I don't begrudge her that, but I gotta put some one-on-one time with him too, and I gotta do it when me and you, I'm not just pleading with you, trade off with me so I can get a minute in with him, or some real quality connected time. And I feel like I had, some postpartum going on, and he's just now really becoming sentient. So now his personality is really connecting dots. And I had all that, I felt so bad that I went back to work early because I had that extra 3 weeks with our daughter to bond with her. And that was when we when I really, really, truly started picking up on her cues and really getting good belly laughs. And all that time was spent with grandmas and you, while I was kind of locked in the basement working. So.
Yeah. I mean, that was that last 3 weeks, the dust had really settled.
Well, and it was 5 weeks for her because I went back to work at 12 weeks, but she still stayed with me for 2 more weeks until daycare started. So I got an extra 5 weeks with her because I just worked from home, and she sat in the pack and play behind me.
Yeah.
And I just juggled it. I have a slightly different role now, so we didn't think that would be as easy. probably still could have done it, but
yeah, you probably could have. But I mean, it's fine. Like I've been trying to be more aware of, okay, I've been doing this for a while. Like this is obviously your off time, and I'm like, oh, hey, do you want a swap? So
I'm not saying that because you're like not good at doing that. No, you're great. You've been amazing. I'm just like,
I was just throwing it out there as like a tip for other parents. Like, hey, check with your other. See if they, because sometimes you get so busy, and I do this too. Like you just don't realize that you're not swapping off.
Yeah,
you're just like tending to one, especially when they're kind of sick, and then you're like, and then someone's like, hey, do you want to hold him and me swap out? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Oh yeah, I hadn't seen that kid in like 6 hours. How they doing?
Right, and it's just something to think about for parents of like, hey, tag your person in, tag your person out when it's rough.
Speaking of the sickness, man, like. I was scared he was going to get it, but like in the thick of it, when she first got sick, I was just sitting here like, please don't let him wake up. Like I have no clue what we do right now. If as sick as she is, he wakes up and needs something in the middle of this.
Yeah. No, he's
because good. I mean, like I was holding a trash can for her and cleaning her up and putting her in the shower and like all these like, just trying not to let her fall down because she was just like weak and heaving and
just like half asleep still.
Yeah, just exhausted. And you're doing like all the linens and carpet cleanup. So like hands completely full on both fronts. And it was just like, please don't let this baby wake up. Please don't. And he didn't, thank goodness. And then the next day it was like, please don't let this baby get sick. Please don't let it get sick.
It was one stress after another. But we got through that. First day of class was awesome. It was a good drop off. I mean, the same well, for the boy, we dropped him off first because she likes to come and help us drop him off.
She's such a good helper.
And
he loves her.
He does.
He's always finding her now in a room. He's like he hears her voice, which I don't know how he couldn't at this point.
Right. It's hard not to hear the voice.
Yeah. But he's always trying to find what she's doing. And
sometimes he has that look of like, is there a mute button? Like,
no, he doesn't. He always looks at her with like wonderment and smiles. And let me tell you, I could tell she is just like, really, what are we thinking about this whole little brother thing? Y'all sure you wanted to do this? And now she's seen him smile a couple times when he sees her and she melts like the rest of us. I seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So we drop him off. You use the original nerves, like it doesn't get any easier just because you've done it before. You go over a laundry list of things with the teachers and they're like, okay.
I've forgotten something every day. Like I gave them a laundry list on Monday. Today I remembered a few more things. I wrote down a bunch of shit on the fridge tonight that I got to go over with them tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. I feel I've been comparing it to how we felt about the first time. It's obviously really hard because you never had a kid.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you're like, here, stranger, take care of my kid while I go do some bullshit work. Right. Like, but I don't know. I think even if this was the first time driving, I feel better because the teacher is actively a mom right now.
Yes.
Like not, oh yeah, I had kids like 20 years ago, mom.
Yeah.
Or I just, granted, her lead teacher was an active mom with a kid in daycare, but she was super young and she had never been a teacher before.
Well, she was super young. She'd never been a teacher before. Her kid had super intense medical problems and not anything against her, but you're just like, man, how is
your head in the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, and you don't want to be like,
but her kid seemed okay. I met her.
Yeah. But the way she described it, I was like, girl, you gonna be gone for like medical appointments all the time? Is like crazy pants the only one that's gonna be here? Like, and I think that's why it's been easier to drop him off this time. It's like, no, it's not easy to drop him off with another person that's gonna get to spend more time with him than I will. No, but I like these teachers. They seem far more competent. They seem way less nervous, and one of them dropped an F-bomb with me today, which I loved because I was like, well, the traumatic threes are, they're here, and she was like, oh, just wait for the F and force. And I was like, whoa, I thought there was a light at the end of the tunnel. She was like, no, that's 5. I was like,
that's the other F word, 5. Yeah, I don't know, like I think too, it helps that they get like a build to like the busy part. They're like, our other class started a full class.
I was telling them that, like, they didn't realize. I was like, no, they were like 9-10 babies in there or whatever, like the max you could have
out the gate.
And they all were born within a month of each other.
Yeah. So we did that. Then we, I know we've been talking about this for a minute. We drop off. We drop him off. We drop her off in her class, and we're not in there very long, but first thing we hear is, as kids are coming in the door, the teacher's like, go wash your hands. You're going to come in my room. You're going to wash your hands. And I was like, yes. And you look at their little, I was telling one of my coworkers today about this. You look at their little daily schedule, and like wash your hands is in between everything. It's like wash hands, eat breakfast, wash hands, go outside, wash hands.
I love that these ladies are just like, I'm not messing around with your snot-nosed kids. Like,
take a nap. Guess what?
Wash your hands.
See, they do have a very wash your damn hands kind of
love it.
Vibe to them.
Well, I was telling you, it was like, these teachers remind me of like my grade school teachers.
Yeah, they
like,
do to me too.
No nonsense, like old school 90s, 80s, like, and I mean, and they're from that era, so that's probably it. Like you said, they've been around the block, they've seen it all. They probably were my grade school teachers, but they were really nice ladies. Like, I didn't get to meet her lead teacher at that orientation because the kid was sick, but when we went for first day of drop off, we both went together, and the first thing she did, like, she walked straight up to me and shook my hand, introduced herself. She was super personable, very direct, which I adore, like, not shy a bit, and was just like, here's my kingdom, welcome your kid to it. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. I was like, I feel like I am dropping my child off with a capable human being for the first time in a year.
It's a 180, and I'm sure that it's probably a more stern situation than what they were in before, and I'm okay with it. Like,
I'm wonderfully, yeah. Our kid is not, she likes it, but she's not liking it.
It's an adjustment.
It's an adjustment, yeah.
Well, and that's kind of leads into the next thing that I was going to bring up is, I think that when she gets home, now that structure is like, we have structure here at the house, but now that the actual somewhat regimented structure of what they do all day, she has
a schedule at home, but like for the last year, it has been run amok for 8 hours first.
Yep.
Like,
and so it's all that run amok that she doesn't get out.
Bored run amok, mind you. Like the same stuff she'd been doing for 200-300 days. Like, and so she was just, we had a big meltdown. She was not challenged at all. And we've had several meltdowns, let's see, in the last week or so, like building up to the change.
Sure.
But before we get on to that, I wanted to because I feel like, we got 2 kids now, and we started this with our first kid, but I just feel like we never pay enough attention to what he's going through again. And I know it's because we've talked about that on this podcast before, but he's going through something that our daughter didn't go through, which is torticollis. And I think she had a mild case of it, but I mean, it resolved itself before we even really noticed it.
Most kids have some degree of it. Yeah.
Well, his has been pretty severe, and we told the teachers about it. And dude, like last night, after one day there, like he was trying to turn to his left. Like he was balancing himself on a left turn on the tip of his head, like on the what do you call it? The baby cam. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, what? Where did you go today? Like, did you go to Olympic trials? Like, what?
Yeah, they're active. And
they just worked with him all day.
But it's the benefit too of being a 1-to-1 ratio.
I love it.
It's great, and that'll put him in such a good spot when all the other kids start showing up, because they'll already have a rhythm with him and be like, oh, it's his normal this and this, right? It's, it's his normal time to go for a nap, his normal time for a bottle. Like, it'll just be clockwork. I hope too. I mean, things can always change, but it's nice to have a good feeling about it. As we've had over a year of bad feelings.
Well, and we had
terrible feelings.
We never went into a classroom with our daughter with a good feeling. So this is very new for us. The first year, that teacher put her damn foot in her mouth on orientation about the pandemic. The second year, the teacher was nice enough the first week, but then all hell broke loose and we went through 8 teachers in 2 months.
Yep.
And
she was nice, but it became clear very quickly that she wasn't absolutely sure what she was doing.
She had no clue. She sent us a picture of our daughter's bottom. Like she photographed our daughter's bottom to show us a diaper rash and texted it to us. Anyway, I was just like, please don't work with children anymore.
Well, yeah.
And then last year, like we walk in and we see all the goofy shit on the walls and we're just like, what? No. And we've tried to get into 2 other daycares in the meantime, trying to break this cycle, and we can't seem to do it. So to walk into a classroom where it looks like there's some freaking competent people about to take charge, I'm like, oh my God, it can't be. Is it true? Like,
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. So yeah, I think that it's just, he's doing great with it. I think that he really gets along with them. Like, he's really easy to, like, he just, all you gotta do is be goofy with him a little bit, give him some big, and I even told them that, like, when I did orientation, I was like, he just likes big facial expressions, and talk to him, and he'll give you complete smiles, and it's cool. It feels good to drop them off. It feels like the daughter, like, it's only been 2 days. Things can change, but it feels like she's wanting to be there. Like, the first 2 days, she just walked in and started doing her thing. She gave hugs and everything, but I was expecting at least the first day for her to be really clingy, and she wasn't.
Same. But I think that might happen again next week. That's what happened.
Sure, it might be a little regression.
Last year and the year before, I think it was the second week that was the hardest. But today when I picked her up, she was like, tomorrow's school day. And I was like, oh, wait, you were excited about this classroom, though. That's what you were asking when you didn't want to go to school every day because you hated your class last year. And I was like, yeah, tomorrow's the school day. Just kind of like wondering what she was going to say. 'Cause she said it right outside, like, administrative office door. She goes, oh, man, I don't like my school. And I'm just like,
did she say that today?
Yeah. Oh. She said it on the way out the door. And I was like, why? Like, I think at this point she's just like, she's seen the disappointment on our face, so she's trying to like gauge where that goes. Because I'm like, well, what'd you do today? And she told me like all the school stuff they did, all these people she played with. I'm like, have you learned all your new friends' names? And she was like, not yet. But she was really excited to just tell me a bunch of new things. I think
she just got such a habit of like.
Yeah, I think it was a habit thing.
And it could be that, maybe like the structure rubs her a little bit.
I'm sure.
Possibly. But I mean, she's told me she's had fun. So
she's told me she had fun too, which is why I was kind of surprised she brought that up and did that. But I think, again, it's like she's just trying to see what the reaction is out of the grown-ups. It's just I can't even. I just hope this relief lasts. I hope it's not a premature celebration. Like,
yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm hoping.
Just you got it. Like, and we talked about this. Was it last night? We were talking about how like the different ways we take things and different ways people take things, and there's things that set you off that don't set me off, that I'm just kind of like, whatever. And then there's things I for some reason tend to get mired in smaller things, whereas you get mired in bigger things. And it's a weird difference, but like something big will come up and I'm like, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, how's it going to be fine?
Yeah. Like, okay, so our AC broke last night.
Yeah. I am more bothered by inconveniences to my progress. Right.
Oh yeah. Because like I was sitting there thinking of the budget, the baby being in 82 degrees and SIDS and things like that. And you're like, I don't want to pack that pack and play up and take it to a different house. I'm like, get the fucking pack and play out. It was so
I did not want to change houses, but
no, and I understand that, but I was like, we have to do something. Like,
it wasn't
we can't
bugging
sit
me,
around in 82 degrees.
But it's one of those things, like, I know we'll get it fixed. It's not like we're not going to get it fixed. So, and we're going to be out some more money, but thankfully ended up working out okay.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out good. Your dad's a saint.
We knew
a guy.
Yeah, knew a guy. We got home. I got home just before you guys. You pulled in probably like 5-10 minutes after I did.
Which I work from home.
Yeah.
So.
And I was like, I was right before you got there. I was like, man, it is warm. And usually in the area where we come into the house, the kitchen's there, the dining room's there, and that's also where the windows that get the main amount of direct sunlight are.
He is like clawing his entire face right now. We broke the swaddle, mind you.
Yeah,
he's done decent with it, but like he can't keep those damn busy hands off his head.
Yeah, he went in first day of class looking like Wolverine, got his hold of the side of his face.
Sorry,
but so I'm walking. I'm like, it's a little warm, and I was like, maybe I don't know, maybe just the sun coming in and just warmed up this room. And then you guys got home. We were doing our normal thing, and we were walking back to the back to do something. And I was like, for some reason, I was like leaned over. Girl was in the bathroom, and I stepped in there to see what you guys were doing. And there's a vent right at your legs when you step into the doorway. And I noticed it wasn't like cold like it normally is. It's just one of the colder rooms because it's all tile.
Oh yeah, normally it'll put icicles on your leg hairs.
And I leaned down. And I was like, put my hand there. I was like, that's not blowing very cold. I was like, has it been like this all day? And you're like, I don't know. And you like put your hand there.
Because my office is in the basement.
Yeah, you put your hand down there, and I was like, huh. And your office is in the basement, and it stays cool down here. Like it just does because it's underground.
Yeah, and like I noticed I had gotten hot because I was running around upstairs, like kind of just picking up clutter, and like when I take a break, I'd go like do a sweep and then come back downstairs, and I was like sweaty, and I was like, well, maybe I'm just like doing more than I realize. Like, right. And I was wearing jeans because we'd done drop off, so I wasn't in my PJs still. And I was like, well, maybe I'm in jeans and I'm hot and I'm moving around a bunch. So I was writing it all off, but you were just like, these air vents aren't even blowing cold air. And I was like,
and I'm usually complaining about it being too cold in the house.
You're normally like, where's my hoodie? Where's my blanket? Where's my socks? And I'm normally like, it's 68 in the house. I would like a tank top, please. Like,
so we immediately like started troubleshooting while you're getting dinner ready, and she's melting down,
losing it. And she's losing it because was it a snack or was it
snacks?
Okay, so the day before she lost it over a hangnail, like that she had chewed into the quick, because she just for some reason will not stop chewing her nails in the quick. The one kid's got like claws like Wolverine, and she has nubs for fingers.
But she wants her nails to grow out and be pretty so bad, and I'm just like, you keep chewing them.
I got half and half right now, but
yeah. So
she's melting down. But the
you're
kicker,
on the phone with like AC people.
The kicker is like she was gonna melt down no matter what happened.
She just had to find a thing.
But she found a thing in snacks, and then she doubled down when an adult got on the phone and wouldn't talk to her, because she hates when people are on the phone and not talking to her. Like,
she hates when she can't ping pong between us.
Well, she just hates when when your attention's diverted. Like, she's got FOMO. She wants to know what's happening on the other end of that call, basically.
Or she wants like, now I have stories to tell you. Yeah. I need to tell you this. Even though someone else is talking. Can I tell you this?
My least favorite thing she does is where she's like, Mom, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, what? And she goes, I'll yeah. And I'm like, I will wring your skinny little neck.
So and this is something we're in the process of breaking right now. She's gotten in the habit of, and she was doing this in the morning with breakfast, and we've kind of got that to almost a stop. She'll pick something, but she'll also want something else. And then next thing you know, she's got 3 things sitting in front of her. Mm-hmm. And so she was doing that with snacks.
Well, and she was eating all of them and her dinner for a while because she was in a huge growth spurt, but she's kind of stalled out, and she's been the same weight for like a year, and she's still growing like a weed, but I guess just not needing as much fuel as she was needing. So now she's taking a bite of 10 different things and leaving the rest.
And then she's full of those 10 different things and won't eat. Or she's at least satiated, so she's not like got that hungry.
I shouldn't say 10 different things because that would be totally irresponsible on our
like
part. Yeah, but like 3 or 4. Yeah.
So she completely melts down. And
I'm in like
screaming
the back room trying to get some HVAC guy out here.
Like it was in the top 2 or 3 of meltdowns for her. Like,
absolutely.
Of all time.
Absolutely.
So far. Maybe top. Maybe might have been number 1.
I would say it's somewhere in the running for 1 or 2.
It was pretty close. So I'm over there getting her food ready, chicken and rice. She likes deluxe mac and cheese. Trying to do that. I found, by the way, put a little less water than they say to put in there. Don't fill it to the line because it keeps it from getting too soupy. Side note. But yeah, so she tries to go. You tell her to stay out. She goes to the fridge and just opens it and stares.
Standing there. We got no AC.
Yeah.
Fridge has already been on the fritz for a couple of weeks, mind you. Just like freezing everything on the top shelf.
She also walked away from the fridge.
Left it wide open. Mm-hmm. And I've been talking to her for 2 weeks about not just standing in front of an open fridge for 5 minutes. So.
She goes to get a stick of cheese. After I told her, no, we're about to have dinner. Your dinner is literally 5 minutes away from being ready.
Well, and I had told her 20 minutes before that she could have cheese.
But she chose something else.
Well, yeah, for one reason or another. Or she decided to do something else. She didn't get the cheese, basically. And so she wanted it a minute before dinner was going to be plated. And I was like, no, that is you asked for that half an hour ago or whatever. Yeah.
You were actively on the phone with people trying to figure out the air thing. And I was like, no. So I took it away from her. She throws herself on the ground and screams. And I was like, all right, here we go. I was like, come on, come with me. Grabbed her, just took her by the hand, walked her into her room. She dramatically threw herself into her very pillowed calm down corner.
Yeah, I love that thing.
And I was like, all right, you need to chill out here for just a minute. Your food's almost done. I love you very much, but you are, and she's screaming the whole time. I was like,
in your face,
in my face. And I'm like, and tears are streaming. And I was like, look, you gotta take a second to calm down. You've gotten yourself so worked up that you're not processing anything right now. And I was like, I'm going to go finish your dinner. I will be right back. And she was like freaking out because I'm leaving her in there in her room and not letting her come out. And I was like, this is what needs to happen. And I was like, so I went, I was on the last 3 minutes of finishing up her food. I was basically just stirring the cheese into the mac and cheese, getting it into a bowl so it could cool off, putting it on the table. And then by that point she had stopped crying. She was just sitting there.
Well, at some point she was screaming for me. I was back in our bedroom, bathroom trying to hide from the sound.
She was screaming.
It sounded like somebody was being murdered. She
was screaming for that entire 3 minutes. And then as soon as I put everything on the table, she had just calmed down.
Yeah.
And I walked back in there. I was like, look, man, I told you I'd come back. I was like, I love you very much. I was just outside the door. I did not leave you. I let you stay in here and calm down. And she was like, she gave me that look of just like, I'm hurt.
Yeah,
I'm hurt.
Betrayal, anger.
She was still inching closer and trying to get to where she could lean on me and stuff like that.
It just makes me feel terrible when she does that because I know she still loves us, but I'm like, is it like Stockholm syndrome? Does she only love us because we're the only parents she's got?
I'm fully convinced she is navigating feelings that maybe aren't new, but that are getting more complicated.
Yeah. And I mean, and I was saying our son's teacher's kid is in her class too, and they are going through the exact same thing. And he's a boy and she's got 3 older kids. And I mean, we were describing parallel situations today. So.
Well, and like I've been telling you, when we go and do our get-togethers with the other kids in class, it's as bad or worse in other situations.
And her other classmates that are going through the same stuff, like their parents are teachers and like professionals and professors and like childcare specialists and normal people that like have 9-to-5s and computer tech and like service industry jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
it's the whole thing. But I think that it's very much. I think there's a large percentage that is just the age.
Yeah,
I think that the last room didn't do any favors because there was a lot of while there was attention being paid to make sure they were somewhat safe, there was not active listening going on.
Absolutely not.
It was more so just like get me through, like they were just getting through the day, making sure the kids didn't completely hurt themselves.
Yeah. And yeah, she's in a mood right now. She's feeling out the new scenario, and I think she's going to love it.
Yeah.
I think she will thrive in it. I think it will be back to what we had last year where we were just like amazed at everything she could do by the end of it.
I'm sure she'll butt heads with
absolutely
the other kids. She'll butt heads with the teachers for sure.
She's already told us there's one kid in that class that's mean to her. So, because she knew him from the playground. But
you know, and I'm sure she's going to butt heads. She's definitely a kid that likes to test authority.
Yeah.
So she's going to test them. And I think they're more than equipped for that.
I think so too, because they seem like the type of people that are just like you said, no nonsense, but also not cruel.
Not cruel. They're just gonna be like, you're doing this to yourself. Like, stop. Like, just stop. Calm down. Like, you know.
Well, and like today, you know, we had another meltdown today. What the hell was the meltdown today about?
It wasn't as bad, but
was it snacks again?
It started to be. It just didn't get to the level.
The teacher in our son's class, she was like, "Are you guys having meltdowns about snacks every day?" Earlier today, I was like, "Absolutely, like every day." It wasn't as bad as yesterday, but she was streaming tears, screaming, running into the baby's room to show she didn't have to do what she was told. And I was just...
It was about snacks again.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get her... trying to get him changed and take her outside.
Oh, because, yeah, you wanted to take her outside. I gave her a snack in the car. She finished, 94% of the whole damn thing and then decided she didn't like it. And I told her before I even gave it to her, I was like, this is the only snack I brought. And there's no more snacks at home. And you will eat dinner. And then we can discuss if you get a treat or something, if you eat a good dinner. I was like, you're not going to get any more snacks when you get home. If you don't like the snack I bring in the car, you can wait till we get home and pick something different. But that's going to be it from now on. You get one.
Yeah.
And she was like fine when I explained it. But then when it came down to it, that's when, all hell broke loose.
She's got a very, we'll see about that kind of vibe to her.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good way to put it.
She's like, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you say, Mom.
Just make sure you stick to that. Like, are you sure about that? You sure you're okay with that, Mom?
But do you understand what you're asking me?
But the thing is I was okay with it today because, we went through a lot in the last week, and we have done everything to try to help her and love her and get her through it. And she still has a baby brother, and we are both still working, and there is a lot going on. And I had it today, and I was just like, I love you with all my heart, but you are not going to come home and hijack the evening from everybody. I was like, it's not working. It's not going to happen. You're not going to talk to us like that. I'm not going to let you talk to us like that. So I was like, I love you dearly, and we are happy to take you outside to play until dinner's ready. You are not going to starve. You just had crackers in the car. You had food at school. You had food at home. You got more food coming in 5 minutes. I was like, so the screaming that you're that hungry is unnecessary because you had food 120 seconds ago. I was like, so what I'm going to tell you is you can scream like this in this room by yourself, and I'll bring you your dinner, and you can eat your dinner in here alone screaming. I was like, but you cannot do this to the entire family every single day. I was like, none of us deserve it. We're trying to help you. We love you. We want to spend good quality time with you. And I was just like, but you can't treat us like this. I said, you know better than this. You know this is not the way you get what you want. I said, if you want to talk to us, we're here to talk to you. It's like, but screaming in our faces and kicking and yelling and running off and stomping. And I was just like, I'm done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was a good talk. I mean, I'd say
She got mad about it. She started to kick me. And I was like, kick me and you lose a book. Like, because she loves her storytime books. And we've explained to her many times, we're like, you can't, it's the only thing she cares about. She didn't care if we take sugar away, because she's like, I'll get sugar again eventually. Like, it's too distant. It's too distant of a punishment.
Well, the other thing is she knows we'll take it away. Like, we followed through with it.
Yeah.
And she knows that she can't. And you see her like holding herself physically back. It's like someone's got her by the shoulders sometimes.
Well, and like, we all love story time. Like, that's the thing is, and we've explained it to her. We're like, we love reading with you. We don't want to, we want to read with you too, but we can't sit here with you hitting us and like just reward you over and over again with more fun times.
Yeah.
Like,
there's consequences, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're working on it, but I think that it's just, there's many moving parts to it.
I feel like, we explain all this and it seems to be working fine, but I feel like also, like, as I hear myself explain it, I'm like, we got to be doing all of this wrong. So please know, we are not parenting experts. If you are someone that is not related to us listening to this in any capacity for educational purposes, know that we don't know what we're doing. We're doing our best by our crazy parents that raised us, and by, like, our good friends that are better than us, that have semi well behaved children, and like the shit we've read on the internet
that we see. Like, that's the thing is, like, it's all in the name of the podcast.
Yeah. We
don't know what we're doing. None of the parents know what they're doing. The ones that seem like they're put together, they still have these days. It's still all there. Like,
I feel guilty, like, because the way I came down on our daughter was like totes my parents, like how they would speak to me. It was stern as hell.
It didn't involve belts.
It didn't involve belts. No,
hands, you know what I'm saying?
No capital punishment involved. But like, I mean, I talked to a 3-year-old like she was a grown woman today, and it felt weird. Like, I almost felt like I dressed her down, but at the same time, I was like
something's got to cut through, and when that cutting through with our folks, it was the belt is what cut through the they kind of made the understanding happen, right? And maybe not in the best way, clearly not in the best way, right? But something has to cut through to her, and sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's go sit in your calm down corner and chill,
and sometimes it's a hug and a lot of empathy, and just like, hey, like, but sometimes, man, like, we've also had those nights where we've tried every empathetic thing we can think to do, like just hugs and love, and it's okay, if you need to cry it out, that's fine, it's okay, your emotions are fine, like. And then she's still just screaming in our faces, and you're like, all right, enough of this shit.
Yeah, no, it absolutely. But it's, I don't know. It's weird what gets to me and what doesn't. When she's having those like screamy meltdowns is when I'm my most calm. I'm just like, okay. I mean, this is. Yeah,
you get most frustrated when she's like, she just won't stop goofing when you're trying to be serious.
Yeah, when I'm trying to get when point A and point B are so close together, but all of a sudden we're in point P for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we're just going A to B. And she's like, LMNOP, right about LMNOP. Hey, Dad, QRS. I'm like, get out of here, man. Will you just brush your teeth?
Do you want to know you do that to me, though?
Yes, it's the little things. It's the inconvenience.
You do it to me and try to drive me crazy. So I think it's very funny that the thing she's the most like you on is what drives you insane.
You're impeding progress. Like, I'm like, but I think
I'll be sitting there trying to fold clothes, like fold laundry, and you're just like, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, can you please let me finish my task?
Do that later.
And then the things that get to me the most are when when she's being like, oh God, it's hard to describe it because sometimes the screaming fits I can stay calm through, and sometimes the goofiness I can handle pretty well because I'm just like, let's redirect it, and then I'm like, oh, P.S. this is what's hanging over your head, and you got to get to that. So you probably should want to like get back on task.
You guys start amping each other up sometimes,
but yeah, when there's occasionally when she is upset, she'll hit that disrespectful note, and I'm like, oh, I got to stand my ground.
Yeah.
And I gotta show her who is in charge. And that's kind of dumb with a 3-year-old. Like, I know that. It's like, oh, what are you trying to prove to your 3-year-old here?
But it's all trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is still all new.
That's what gets me the most, though, is like when she like challenges the authority in a terrible way, and then she laughs in my face, and I'm like, oh hell no.
Yeah, that's pretty rough for you. And I mean, dude, I've had those where she's done that to me, and I had to walk away and like tag you in or whatever. But I just.
Do you wonder what the boy's gonna do?
I don't even want to think about it. It's not even a thing.
He's so sweet right now. It's so hard.
Can't do it yet. Like, that's all I'm thinking about.
I'm just trying to enjoy how sweet he is because she was so wonderful as a baby, and I just keep I keep trying to remember how sweet and wonderful she was as a baby.
And she still has that.
She still definitely has that. We still adore her, but these challenging moments are very challenging.
But she's quickly figuring out the degrees at which she can exert her will and what she can get to us on, because she knows that it gets to me when we're just trying to get one thing done and she can't get it done. She knows that it gets to you if she
tells me I have no power here.
Yeah.
Well, with trying to remind myself, seeing how sweet he is, using that to try to parlay that to remind myself how sweet she is at heart, like when she's being a pain, it only reminds me that, oh no, he'll get here too. And I'm like, no, focus on how sweet he is right now. Yeah,
he will. Yeah. And I think, I don't know. There's no way to really tell. I feel like he's going to be, if I were to like, what I'm picturing in my head, that's how I should put it.
Yeah.
The way, because you project things into the future and you're just like, well, he's going to be like this, or she's going to be like this. I picture him being a little more sensitive, and possibly a little, just maybe not as overt with his rebellion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that.
Oh, you mean like the good kind of sensitive, not the overly sensitive?
I don't think he's gonna be overly sensitive, but I think he's gonna be a little more like. All kids have to learn empathy, but I think that he's gonna figure that out a little bit, and I think that he
yawns when I yawn already.
I think that he's gonna figure out. I think he's gonna be quicker to figure out. If I just say okay right now and they leave me alone, I can get back to the thing I was trying to do.
That same dynamic happened with my two brothers. Is like, so our daughter is very, like, my stepmom points it out all the time. She's like, she's just like my eldest, which is, my baby, my middle brother. And I'm like, yeah, she is. She's 100%. Like, that's how you, like, the same way we reasoned with him when he was little is the same way you really got to approach it with her.
She needs a plan. She needs to know how it works.
Yeah.
She needs to know why it works.
She needs all the steps.
What it's for.
And she needs to be prepared for that. And she needs to okay that process before we start it. Like,
and she's not okay with deviation.
No, not one bit. Like, but you said is a standard statement in this house. And you have to apologize to her when you're wrong too. Like, you have to. As soon as I realize something's
something's not going the way it's going, like we explained to her, it's like, hey, just so you know,
I just mean like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
this
like,
is not going to happen.
When we screw up, we have to apologize to her. Like,
but I mean, when we screw up, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that I think.
And I mean,
people in general,
we'll do that with our son too. But like, sorry.
People in general have a tough time with that, like saying, hey, I messed up. That wasn't the way to handle it. I have a tough time with it too. I think it's just mosquito.
Okay.
He's a big boy.
Well, he's going to come for you, not me. So you have at it. I almost got him.
Damn. I'm distracted now. So, but a lot of people have a tough time being like, yeah, and I still struggle with it, even though I'm very pro. Admit when you're wrong, let them know. And we try our best. So we've learned with her, we have to lay out the scenario. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to get to school. You're going to walk in. We're going to do this and that. And that was when she was having a tough time, like when she was getting extra clean. She had a moment there where she was like clingy all the time. Didn't want us to
bedtime
leave.
routines too.
Bedtime routines. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to finish dinner. I'm going to start running your bath. We're going to take a bath. You're going to brush your teeth.
And this is a pretty standard approach with a lot of like strong-willed kids. I've learned too. Like that's where we figured out what we needed to do to kind of break the cycle of screaming that we had at bedtime. Was would you please focus on this podcast and not that fucking mosquito?
Sorry, he keeps like dipping into my eye line. Listen, I got good peripheral vision.
You're not going to get West Nile in your basement. You're going to be fine.
Tell your story.
I was telling my story.
Quit worrying about my eyes. Go ahead.
But yes, I think you're right. He's going to be the one that figures out if I just go, okay, they're not going to nag me about it. She is the one that's just like, can we please stop talking about this? But I'm like, you haven't gotten it yet, so we have to keep talking about it. And he's going to be like, no, I get it. I'm good. Like, I promise I get it. I'll tell you exactly what you just told me that first time. We don't have to talk about it anymore.
She'll say, please stop talking about it, but she's also a bulldog when it comes to like when she thinks it should be a certain way. But, I think admitting when we're wrong is pretty healthy. Because it sets a good example. But what I was referring to is, what was it? Wednesday was last day of school, and we made plans to go meet a couple of the parents.
Oh yeah.
At a brewery.
Oh God, yeah.
And the brewery, she loves going to this place.
Well, that was the day she turned up sick too.
She ended up being sick, so I'm sure this added to it. But this was a small meltdown. The brewery was closed for a private event, and so we pulled up. We got out. We got everything out of the car.
There's nothing special at this brewery either for kids, y'all. It is a brewery. They do happen to have ice cream,
but it's got a lot of space for them to run around in and hang out.
It's not even the most spacious one around us, though. It's just
like it.
Yeah, I think she just likes getting out of the house and doing something else sometimes.
Well, and it
has air conditioning, so.
Well, she associates it with her friends being there because usually we're meeting daycare people there and we're hanging out, right? Mm-hmm. And it was closed for an event, and we were like, "Hey, we didn't realize it was closed. We can't go in." But she sees people in there. She's like, "Why can't we go in? There's people." I was like, "But it's a private event, and you can't." She doesn't process that, like what that means, right? I was like, "This is someone is using this for something they have to do," and so we were trying to figure out, do we need to defer, detour somewhere else? We ended up just going home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she was losing her mind. Yeah, there was nowhere else we were taking her.
Yeah, we can't take you anywhere like this.
When we got into it tonight, I'm sorry, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. When she and I got into it tonight, like, the dust had settled. She'd cooled off. She'd kind of like come back to the table with her own version of an olive branch and was just like, "What you making? Can I watch you?" Like,
yeah, she was like about face. I mean, after her meltdown yesterday, and having her calm down time in her room, she came to the table and was acting pretty normal, and the rest of the night went pretty smooth. Yeah,
she went to call her grandparents, and she was like all smiles, and they're like, "You look exhausted," and I had to explain to them later that she had a half an hour meltdown of screaming, streaming tears, and that was why she.
Was it yesterday or Sunday? She had lost a book because of the way she was acting the night before.
I think that the punishment came into effect yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it had a reminder.
So it was the night before.
Hey, keep in mind you lost a book yesterday for the way you acted. Like, it just So it's not because she'll forget and she'll be like, "Well, why don't we have two books?"
There all over again. But like. So she came up and wanted to watch what I was cooking tonight, and I was just like, "Hey,
this is how you work a microwave."
Hey, I'm sorry we fought.
Yeah.
I do love you very much, and I want us to have good evenings together and not be arguing about it. And she was like, "I don't know what that means." And I was like, "Fought, like fight." And it's like fighted, but it's in the past. Fighted's not the word to use. You use fought instead of fight. And she was like. And I was like miming punching, and she was like, "Why are you punching?" I was like, well,
Probably should have went with argument.
Well, thank you. I did. I was getting there. I was like, oh, well, I mean, it's like argue, but you know, some people call it fight, like, but you're just fighting with words. And she was like, why you punch? And I was like, well, we didn't punch, but I'm real bad at charades, kiddo. Like, and she's just sitting there like, I don't know what fought means. And she, oh God, she confused it with another word that started with a W. I can't remember what it was. Oh, no. I said something that was a different thing anyway. I said something about fooling around, and she was, or like being a fool or something. And she said, well, you said that word wrong. Like, that's what sheeps have. And I was like, oh no, that's wool, fool. It's different. And she's so unfamiliar with.
But she wants to know how it works.
Everything.
She has to know.
She wants to know how all of it works, but she's so unfamiliar with the language. Like, we're still getting meltdowns surely based on misunderstandings, like, too. But she speaks so well, it's hard to remember that still. Like,
gotta keep reminding yourself she's 3.
Our son's teacher, she was sitting there talking to me, and she was like, you know why how I knew I liked your daughter so much was like, I walked into her room as, you know, like a part-timer or sub or something, and she was the only kid in the room I could like sit there and have a conversation with. And that was at least a year ago that she ran into that. And I was like, yeah, we have gotten that before. I was like, she'll argue with you for your conversation if you're not careful. And she was like, well, she's going to be a lawyer. And I was like, damn it. I was like, if anybody tuned in for the last thing we talked about. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, we've gotten that. I used to get that when I was a kid. I was like, it's not my favorite thing because like she doesn't know what that means. But she's still smart enough to know, like, there are a lot of grown-ups when they say that, you know, like,
they mean you're annoying.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what I said. I was like, so we're trying to.
I think she was told as much though.
Yeah, because I think she was in the last class. Yeah,
because I think she was excited about it, and we talked about this last episode. But like, yeah,
she looked confused when they first said it to me.
I think she was excited about it, and so the next week, all the kids had questions about, or they were talking about what their, you know, superlative was, and yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a constant thing. I mean, you brought up the fact that, you know, we don't know what we're doing, and you know, the more I talk to other parents, like, the more it's like, just hold on to the seat of our pants, like, just trying to make it to the next moment and try not to, like, I think the goal, at least of a lot of parents that I talk to, is like, I don't want to wish it all away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I wish this would be over, you know? Your mom even said, like, one day you're just going to want, you know, you're going to miss her annoying you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you're going to miss the messes they make. You're going to miss all that stuff.
Dude, there wasn't a second while she was sick. Like, I didn't want her to be sick, obviously, but I was sitting there like, oh my God, she's just so sweet. And she's just so miserable. And like, right now, all she needs is mommy and daddy. Like, just to take care of her. Yeah. And I didn't want her to be sick or anything, but it was just like a glimpse into our baby girl again. Sorry. She was pitiful.
Yeah.
But she's just such a brave, tough little shit sometimes. Like,
yep. She ate first day of class, she ate dirt.
Ate the concrete.
She ate pavement. Yeah.
She looked
like a damn, like, kids you went to school with that skateboarded. Like,
oh my God. She went 6 rounds with Ali right now. Like, she's got busted nose.
Yeah, she did that whole, like, when you fall, just basically scrape the broadside of her nose.
Oh, and she got the bridge too.
Road rash.
Well, she's got the road rash all the way up her nose, and then the bridge, though, I've checked her twice just to double make sure that it's not broken, but her whole bridge of her nose is swollen and purple. Like, it's not black eye purple, like the black purple, but it's tinged. Like, she's got some bruising in the bridge of her nose. And then anytime we were like on FaceTime with her grandparents, and anytime I brought up her nose, she was like, and I got my forehead. She was so proud. She's like, I cried a lot. And we were like, that's okay. I'm sure it hurt really bad, babe.
She's
like, oh, and I got my knee too.
Completely into her wounds.
She
and treating them and noting their progress.
We went to the pool because we like your folks were out of town. They have a pool at their house, and we went over there because we had a recovering sick child and didn't have anywhere else we could really get her out of the house.
Yeah. It kept her entertained without having to be around people.
Yeah. And it was like 2 days after she was sick. So, I didn't feel so bad putting her in a pool. But you had just gotten out of your mouth. Like
we were leaving.
Yeah. And you were like, don't do that, because that gate will fall back and hit you in the foot and hurt. I mean, it wasn't 3 seconds later she did it.
Yeah, they have one of those gates where you push it open and it swings itself back and closes.
Yeah.
And she had done the thing where it was already partially open. She pushed it the rest of the way open and then turned around and leaned back against it and was just kind of waiting for us because we were gathering up stuff. And then I was like, I saw she was getting excited. She was getting excited, or she was realizing she forgot something, and she went to go. I was like, do not run away. Like put your hand on the gate. It's going to swing back and hit you in the ankles. And sure enough,
oh man, got her Achilles tendon immediately.
Caught the back of her ankle and scraped it pretty good.
Oh, like it didn't scrape it. Like it put a little like slice into it. So she's lucky that it didn't do worse.
Yeah.
So we had to come home and doctor it. She looked right at me. I got like the peroxide and the alcohol out because I was like, hell no, we're not getting gangrene. And she was like, I don't like that at all. That peroxide I don't like it. She said
peroxide never hurt to me.
It never did.
Alcohol always hurt to me. Peroxide was always great.
Everybody said the peroxide will sting and the alcohol won't. It was always the reverse. The reverse for me. And she was like, I don't like either of them.
Yeah. But you told her why, and she understood.
She took it.
She's all about how things heal.
Yeah, and I keep goofing with her and calling her like, doctor, this and that, and like she's like, I'm not a doctor. She just denies it all the time. I'm like, you are fascinated with injuries. Like, anyway, but we've got her flossing at night before bedtime. But she really likes to break like the little flosser sticks. Mm-hmm. She loves to break the string. I don't know why. She just wants to break the string. So she bites down on that sumbitch as hard as she can to try to break the string. Well, I told her to stop doing it. I've told her to stop doing it before too. And I just told her to stop doing it. And she did it, and it cut through her gum.
Yeah, she got
pretty good. Yeah. She had a good bit of blood in her mouth. And I was just like, baby, and she just was donezo. Like,
it was the end of the night. She was tired.
Like just meltdown city. Like, and I was just like, hey baby, we are trying to tell you all the ways to not get hurt, and you are just determined to not listen. I was like, and I pointed at her ankle that had this huge like 2x4 bandage on it. Yeah. And I was like, and then your mouth right now. I was like, I'm not trying to tell you I told you so, but like we're giving you some directions on how not to do some of these things. Like,
I mean, it's like watching a small lesson in life unfold. Like, it's just, there's just things you're going to tell them. Like, hey, that's going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. But they got to let it. They got to see.
I feel like that's all we tell her, though. I feel like just all of having a 2 and 3 and possibly 4-year-old is just being like, everything will hurt you to them because everything they want to do will hurt them.
Yeah. I think that depending on what it is, I'll usually give her a warning. I'm not going to let her catastrophically hurt herself, but sometimes you just got to be like, all right.
But they're always like climbing on shit, like trying to crack their head on the tub, like run out into traffic, like I want to stand in the chair and tip it over. I want to lean over the balcony of the second story. What are you doing? It's just always like possible head injury causing shit, and I'm like, I just have to tell you no all the time because I can't even like for a half a second let you test this one. Like you're gonna get electrocuted. I'm sorry, and I don't think your little heart can take it.
Yeah, it's that you got to pick and choose. But I think too, it's like there's a danger in not letting them figure. Like, and that's kind of leads into like one of the last things I want to talk about. But like, there's a danger in not letting them explore.
Yeah.
And figure out that, oh yeah, that's hot, or like. Not scalding, but that's hot. Or it's like when the back deck gets really warm and she wants to go out there in bare feet. I'm like, it's really hot, babe. You probably want to get some shoes. No, I'll be fine. And I was like, okay, let's go out there.
I've let her do that a couple times, like, but not, you got to still be careful because, on the days it's 98, she genuinely can burn her feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's tough.
But But so that's kind of we started reading a book called The Montessori Toddler. When you guys were having a fight the other night, I just picked up my phone while I was feeding the boy, and I was like, all right, Montessori child. Like this one covers like ages 3 to 12, right?
Yeah.
And they stress a lot of. It starts off very similar to the toddler one, so I skipped ahead a little bit because I was like, okay, I know what Montessori is, blah blah blah. But they, just like with the toddler book, they stress the allowing exploration, allowing them to figure out that, oh, okay, that's not great, that's not a good thing, or just letting them figure some things out on their own, and just trying not to over explain what things are. Let them kind of like, let them kind of like suss it out a little bit themselves, but also just knowing just a little bit of peace of mind to yourself is like, you can tell them until you're blue in the face, but they're still going to go try to touch that thing.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
She does so well with explanation. It's hard not to over explain with her, because you think you're just preparing her and making things much better for everybody. I shouldn't say easier, but like sometimes that's not the best.
I'm trying to simplify my answers
Yeah.
to some things now, and then giving her more details if she asks for them.
Yeah, I'm trying to do.
Because sometimes it's as simple as being like, well, it's just a flower, babe. And like, you don't have to be like, oh yeah, that's the state flower, and it's, blah 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 blah. That's a crude example, but like,
she asked me questions that seriously go like, why is what?
why is what?
Why is what? I don't know.
That's a good question.
It's great. Yeah.
But I think there's like a stigma to that. Like, I think the important thing is when you're looking at stuff like advice on how to do things with kids. And I'm just thinking about it because you brought up earlier, like, we don't know what we're doing, but like, we kind of try to pull the things that work for us from many sources.
Yeah.
You look at a lot of things on the internet. We go through a lot of, YouTube videos, a lot of articles. We found out that Moms on Call works really well for us.
Yeah.
And the things we want to get done, to the point where, like, we followed it. We've got, our youngest is sleeping through the night now. We met up with some friends on Sunday, and he's got a son one of our friends has a son that's about a month older than our youngest. And he's like, how's the sleeping going? I was like, he's sleeping through the night. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, what time does he go to sleep? I was like,
for about a month. No.
I was like, between 7 and 8. And he's like, when does he get up? 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Just before 7, maybe sometimes. He's like, God. He's like, he's still getting up for middle of the night feedings and blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's rough, dude. He's like, I was like, what kind of schedule do you have? And he just, basically, when he cries, we feed him. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, read this book.
I was like, not for nothing, because and I'm pretty big on trying not to give unsolicited advice, but you could tell.
Yeah.
He was like, how are you doing that? And I was like, we just follow a schedule. And he was like, well, what schedule? I was like, well, we have a book that follows 3 different books that follow different age ranges, and it's called Moms on Call. And I sent him the link. Okay. And told him, I was like, I know it's a little pricey, but I was like, literally, this is something you'll understand. He's a very technical guy.
Yeah.
Like, this is stereo instructions. Like, you don't read the book front to back. You look at the table of contents for the thing that needs troubleshooting.
I mean, and I would recommend reading it front to back, and then you go to your table of contents when you need it, just
Absolutely.
because
I was like, it's a thin book.
When it's your first kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a thin book. Like, it doesn't take any time to go through it. Yeah. But like, read the beginning, because there's a lot of introductory stuff. But then when you get to a certain point, it's like, you don't have to go to every different schedule. You go to the schedule that applies to you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was like, essentially just treat it like stereo instructions. Like, just go to the thing you're trying to fix. I was like, you're trying to break passies? They've got a passy section. You're trying to break swaddles? That's literally what we just did this week. And I was like, just follow it to the T. And I was like, the hardest thing is going to be when they get you to the point of put them to bed and do not go back in there until the next morning.
Well, and like, I don't know.
That is hard to do.
And
within reason, obviously.
With our son, he's hard to leave because he's so sweet and happy. And like we've been talking about this week, it's even harder to just walk out the room when he's like, he's smiling and happy and thinking we're about to play with him, and we're like, here's bedtime. And he's like, what the hell? But like hey,
hey, what are you doing?
Wait, what?
He knows what the sleep sack is now. As soon as you start putting it on, he's like,
but poor guy. But like, he's also out like a light within a matter of 1 minute. He can be up
it's instant.
And playing and happy and laughing, and you put him in the right scenario at the time he's supposed to go to bed and out.
He falls asleep like Grandpa Simpson.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, come back. I said, get back.
So, and I don't know that will last with him, but for right now, that's his situation. So we know what we're doing is best for him. It's what he needs, because obviously he needs sleep if he's fallen asleep that hard, that quick. Mm-hmm. Our daughter was not that way. It's still the schedule we used. She still slept better than any of her peers, but like we had to deviate from the plan a little and go in and soothe her and check on her. And she still slept 12, 13 hours a night at that age. But every, 2-3 months, we'd have a small sleep regression and we'd have to go sneak around the room like ninjas, like follow in the shadows so she didn't spot us out of the corner of her eye and keep us in there for 3 more hours. Oh God, I forgot about teething. Teething. Teething.
I think too, part of it is like, we tried, we loosely followed it. I think there were sometimes where we were like, we timed
it. Like we would time it. It says give them 3 to 5 minutes, and we'd sit there with a timer on it too. So I mean, we. But
when it got to the point of them being like, all right, now you're to the point where no matter what happens, you don't go back in that room. They're dry, they're fed, they're comfortable. Like the room's set to a comfortable temperature or whatever. Like, do not go back in there. And I did it. I was like, man, she's only little one time. I'm going to go in and comfort her.
I will tell you this. With him, I don't see us doing it any differently. He just hasn't given us the opportunity to break the cycle yet, because he's actually, like, the second we asked him to sleep through the night, he pretty much did it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But yeah, I told him, I was like, just the hard parts will be getting both parents on board. That is tough, because he's in a situation where, like, at any given moment, one of them has like a weakness to go comfort, right?
Yeah.
And
his partner has another child.
Yeah.
And so she's done this before, coming at it from a little different perspective.
Yeah, and that's what I told him. I was like, the hardest thing is getting the other on board. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I guess we'll see what they come up with. But I know, like, you could see it in his face. He's like, I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
I just want to sleep. And I was like, and he's like, it's like we go upstairs, because I guess in the house they're living in, the baby's room is upstairs. And he's like, we go upstairs at whatever it is, 8 or 9 o'clock, and he's like, you don't come back down for the rest, like for most of the evening until super late. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, man, like, if you do this, you will get your evenings back. You will get, I was like, both kids are right now in bed on a good night, when the train's on the tracks.
Yeah.
Between 7:30 and 8, we're done for the night with them.
Yeah.
Like, they are in bed.
And your cousin had 3 kids and was on the same track with that.
Yep.
And I have a friend with 3 kids, and she's followed it too. Like,
it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we got recommendations, like, especially my cousin, who's like a very practical person, like very, he's a goofball, but he's also very, like, when it comes to like life shit, he's very practical. And I was like, if you're telling me this, then it had to have worked. Like, he's not going to waste your time with something that's like kind of hoodoo, right?
Yeah.
But my whole point is, with the Montessori book, obviously we're not going to completely change our house into a Montessori school, because that's creepy and weird. For a house, like, it's good for a school, but like, I'm not going to transform my house, so skip that area. I'm not changing my, I'm not changing my house. Like,
the kids have a playroom area. We can tailor their room, their playroom, kind of towards them. But I'm not going to put a mini bathroom in their damn bedroom. Like,
Yeah.
No, we're not going to replumb the house to give them a hip level sink for a 3-foot person, like inside the bedroom. No.
Right. And so, you just take the pieces that work for you. Like, so my main interest in these books, the Montessori books, I think it's Simone Davis or Simone Davies. I can't remember. Either way, Montessori toddler, Montessori child. My main interest is like, okay, how do these arguments go? Well, yeah, when you have meltdowns or when you have misunderstandings or when you're trying to introduce something new, how are we doing that? I'm not so much interested in like, the exploration thing. Like, I'm trying to let her kind of, especially when we're in a controlled environment. Let's say we go to the park or something like that. It's like, let's see where she goes. If I'm not saying let's go over here, just see what she does. Does she want to go walking? Does she want to get on the playground? Does she want to see what's in those woods over there?
I mean, I think that's cool and all. Don't get me wrong. I totally on board for that. But I think sometimes it's good to be like, no, we're getting on our bikes.
Yeah, for
sure.
Like,
before you outgrow this damn bike, we're getting on our bikes.
Everything in small doses, right? Yeah. You can't, like, I'm never going to be a never no parent. Like, that drives me crazy.
Yeah. Good
like
Lord,
figuring out ways to deny something by distracting with something else is its own kind of hell.
Yes.
But it might work for other people,
and it might work.
It's just not my personality, but it's also not how the world works.
It's not how the world works. It may work sometimes.
Sure.
Like, there's a time and place for everything. Yeah. Like, so it's just, I say that, and my mom's gonna throw that back in my face when we talk about spanking sometime. But but I'm just the distracting away from the thing they don't like is like them not dealing with rejection or disappointment, and you have to deal with that stuff sometimes.
Yeah. Some of my favorite things are they're really big on not threatening to take things away, which is like every parent does it, right? Yeah. Every parent, like, it's a really hard thing.
I won't threaten, I promise.
Right. So, all right, Mom.
Sorry. Couldn't help it.
But giving you different ways to say it, right?
Yeah.
Like, instead of saying, I'm taking your books away for the night. I'm taking your books away tonight, and saying something along the lines of, I really want you to have both your books tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it. But before we even got that book, I had started on a path sort of like that, where I was just like, you're running out of time to have both your books tonight, because bedtime is 7:30. Like, lights out is 7:30. And we're not going to have time to read both the books you want to read tonight.
And that works better for her.
Yeah.
It might not work for him.
No. God.
He might need something different. She loves...
It took me a long time to learn that about her.
Our daughter loves a good timer, and we still haven't gotten the damn timer that we talked about getting.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like a visual, she can see it count down.
So I'm almost like... we don't need to get her a clock, though. We don't need to teach her to tell time just yet, because we're not quite good enough at keeping the schedule. Because I keep telling her 7:30 is lights out, 7:30 is lights out, but she doesn't know her numbers well enough to know when it's actually 7:30. So sometimes it's 7:48, and I'm still like, I don't really feel like fighting with you.
It is 7:30.
It is 7:30. You've done great tonight, young lady. I'm so proud of you. Let's read these books.
She's going to lean over and be like, that says 8:48, Mom.
Yeah, I know. And I'm going to be like, yeah, that comes before 7:30.
You're just going to melt like the Wicked Witch.
Oh, yeah. We showed her The Wizard of Oz. She's obsessed with the Wicked Witch of the West now.
She wants to know everything about her. I was like, well, wait till you get older and you watch Wicked. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to show her. Well, you haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait to show her Return to Oz.
Yeah,
it's a little different vibe. It's not quite as. I don't think it's even a musical, but it's
the stupid Wizard of Oz songs have been stuck in my head ever since we watched it.
It's kind of like someone took The Wizard of Oz and The Neverending Story and kind of jammed them together.
I need to rewatch The Neverending Story too, now that you speak of that, because like I watched it a lot when I was a kid, but honestly I just remember Falcor and Jonathan Brandis's face, and that's pretty much all I remember.
I remember I remember, I don't know why I started it like that. I reread the book.
Yeah.
Or I read the book. I never read the book before last year. And or maybe it was the year before that, but either way, pretty recently, I read the book after rewatching the movie, And I was like, oh, yeah, I need to check this book out. And it's amazing that like what took place in the movie is not even half of the book.
Yeah.
Like it's so incredible because it's like I was like, oh man, this is like already like toward the end of the movie, and like you got over half the book left. There's so much to it. I understand why they didn't make the whole movie like that.
Well, there's like the Never Ending Story Part 2.
I think they still departed from the book, if I remember correctly. But
I wanted to also show her Willy Wonka. I feel like some of the lessons about those children will sink really hard with our daughter.
Yeah.
Just poorly. She likes a good example of what not to do, like just spelled out right in front of her. Like,
I'm also going to terrify her and be like, when we get older, we're gonna put a bed in the middle of your living room and we're gonna lay there and talk to you and your kid and your kids, and we're gonna be like just bedridden, but in the middle of the living room for some reason.
She
Grandpa Joe.
She loves a good example of what not to do. Like like to watch someone else get in trouble for some stuff. The other night, she was like ready to throw a punch or something, and I was just like, we don't hit. I was like, I can't let you hit. Hands are not for hitting. Keep your hands to yourself. Yeah, then just like the whole script, and I was like, grown-ups go to jail for hitting. I cannot let you hit. And she, like, you saw it in her face. She was like, what the hell did you just, like, what? Jail. And I was like, yeah, when grown-ups hit each other, we go to jail. I said, we are teaching you not to hit to keep you out of jail. And she was just like,
in her, I wish I was sitting at my computer. In her head, like when you say something like that, you just hear the voiceover start, the criminal justice system has two types of people. Those who break the law and those who enforce them. These are their stories. Clank, clank. And you can see her eyes just go, the criminal justice system in America. Like, oh my God.
She's got very expressive eyes too. I was watching Modern Family and they were talking to Haley, and honestly, I've told you before, I think our daughter's going to be a lot like the character Haley on Modern Family, but she was like really telling everybody in the family off about something, like real stern, but she had like the big eyebrows, and her, like, Haley's got big eyeballs, and so does our daughter when she gets like her eyebrows real up into her hairline. And they said, oh honey, when you're serious like that though, you just look like a scared baby deer, and it's so cute. And I was or surprised baby deer, something like that, and I was like, oh, that's it. I was like, that's what she looks like.
God. But yeah, I don't know, it's funny because she does get tuned into like knowing she's oddly interested in consequences, like you said.
Yeah,
oddly interested.
Maybe she will be a lawyer, who the hell knows.
Yeah, maybe so. All right, we gotta wrap it up.
No.
We're going well. I will say we'll be back next week just because I've got procedure this week.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about next week. Mm-hmm. Little snip.
This might be the last round of new babies introduced to the podcast.
This will be. Last round. Yeah. This will be the last round.
Listen.
No oopsies.
No oopsies?
No oopsies.
No miracle babies? What if you just got real strong swimmers?
We'll see.
I don't want to be pregnant again.
So. I know you don't. I don't know why you're talking like this. I don't know why you're putting it in the ether. I'm
just trying to mock you mostly.
Now it's emblazoned on the internet.
Listen,
forever.
I'm going to hit menopause like next year, so it's fine.
No, you're going to be one of those like late menopause people.
I'm going to be one of those people that have kids till they're 60. Because I got...
How? Not for me.
I just meant physically.
I know.
But I'm one of those people that's gonna like, I got all my gray hair in my late 20s, and I'm also gonna be able to have children until I'm 60. So I get like none of the benefits of
You're a super breeder, ever. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll be like an Alfred. Handmade all the way. No room for me to run a household. Ow, I got some in my eye.
So we'll be back next week for sure. And yeah, we hit everything on my list except for, a couple things, but they can wait till next week.
I'm just like, I'm really starting to enjoy, I wanted to tap on, but just because we've had a lot of laughs at our little girl's expense. And I feel like, we're never talking about our son enough, but I know he's new. So I'm hoping we can
Oh, he's going to bring some stories.
Oh, God,
there's going to be some stories.
But I'm really excited that those two seem to be starting to interact. Like, it's wonderful. Like, watching him follow her voice in itself is a pleasure. Like, it's so cute. And when he smiles at her, my heart melts. And when she realizes he smiled at her and she likes it, I'm just like a whole puddle on the floor. So it's like
10 years from now, is your heart going to melt the same way when they're telling each other, shut up?
No, what I'm going to do is be proud when they attack on shut the fuck up. Because I'll be like, oh, look at them. They used it properly.
They used it properly. Now, don't do that around your grandparents. We're going to be the parents where it's like, it's
just
not. It's
know
not
your audience, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about denying them because it's.
When you do that, you get a me that started using the F word in the 3rd grade on a regular basis.
Yeah, like you when you completely make it taboo, that's when it's a problem. So you might as well just be like, listen, know when to hold them.
Yeah.
Know when to fold them. Know when to walk the fuck away.
Did I ever get to tell the story about that fucking truck on this podcast?
Yes.
Where my mom almost came unglued when she heard her say that?
You did.
Okay.
You did.
I was making sure.
All right. That's us. I hope you come back next week. We are going to be discussing my procedure, discussing all the happenings, what happened in the week that's occurring right now.
You're gonna be so annoying next week. This week. It's in 2 days.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my God, y'all! I'm gonna be so annoyed next week. Pray for me.
I gotta get a big bag of frozen peas.
I've got them upstairs waiting on you. You need 2 bags.
2 bags.
One for each.
One to swap out, right?
Oh, I was thinking one for each ball, but yeah.
Oh.
Y'all pray for me. I got to deal with him. Infirmed. It's going to be terrible.
At @PUnpreparedPod on Twitter, parentallyunprepared@gmail.com. I never check those, so good luck. See you guys next week. Bye.
Here, just text him directly at
555.
Oh, I was going to hit
5555.
What if I made you bleep out your phone number right here? Give you some work to do.